What's up, everyone? My name is Joey. I work under the name Blush Response. I'm from Miami originally. My parents are from Cuba. They escaped and had me in America, so I'm the freedom baby. I lived in New York for a long time, and I've been in Germany now for 10 years, living in Berlin and doing music and sound design here. I've worked with many acts in the past, just to name a few: Fear Factory, Frontline Assembly, Joey Jordison of Slipknot, and many others in the underground and overground. I've done sound design for many companies like Electron, Arturia, Nord, and at this point, too many to list, but if you've seen a company, I've probably done sound for them. And also stuff like video games and other things, producing other artists, mixing. There's a lot of stuff, releasing records, all this sort of thing. I started making my own music around when I was 16. My family moved to a small town in upstate New York, population 3,000, and it was a big change from Miami, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I got a synthesizer because I already knew how to play the piano. I also played the drums a bit, and I just started making stuff in my parents' basement. That grew into, okay, I want to write a record. So the first stuff I made, I did 3 albums as Blush Response, where it was full songwriting with singing and everything. And so I used to perform as a live band, and I would sing and play guitar or keyboard, and then I would have a drummer and another keyboard player or a guitarist or something. So I did that for a few years until I moved to Germany in 2014, when I decided to rearrange my approach around making techno, because I got super into techno. And I started playing live solo in that format. Also, I've toured in some bands, so I have been like a live keyboard player in various bands and stuff too. So a bit of everything. And DJing started when I came to Germany, because it's another thing to do here. Right now, I'd say I'm about a 50-50 split between live and DJing. Some people want DJ sets from me, some people want live. I'm happy to do both. In general, I think live is more interesting for me because I get to put my sounds on display. DJing is more relaxed, it's more fun, it's more like sharing stuff I'm into, and it's a bit more of a feedback with the crowd. Like, here's things I like, listen to them. Live is like, here's the fucking craziest thing I can do for an hour, and then buy the record if you want to hear more of that, basically. So, Karen. Thanks, Karen. Did she say we're blocking the path or something? Was that? That is one thing that's very different in Germany from America. In most situations in America, no one would ever say something like that to you because you could be armed and you can shoot them. Like, because people are fucking crazy. So people keep to themselves. I like things about both places. New York is the land of convenience, and in my opinion, the best food city in the world, and food is really important to me, so I miss that a lot. Like, just the idea that I can get any cuisine I want delivered to my home at any hour of the night pretty much, and I have a multitude of choices of each kind, and they're all pretty much good, is amazing here. I'm not fully satisfied with the food in Berlin. It has improved in the 10 years I've been here, but there are a lot of things I like about Berlin. Berlin's music scene is completely unrivaled, and that's what I came here for. I would say New York is very good, and like Tokyo is really good for music scenes around the world, London, but Berlin is definitely the number one that I've seen. Just the scale, the types of things that happen, the fact that I can see, big room techno and an experimental noise show in the same night, and then go see a punk show 3 blocks over if I want. That stuff is great about Berlin. Each has their ups and downsides. I would say the gray weather in Berlin can be a bit taxing. I don't necessarily mean the cold, because cold is fine for me if there's sun, but the constant grayness really does get to me after a while. Favorite or best gig story? I've got so many. I've played like hundreds of gigs by now, but like the most epic one for me personally was at Forte Festival in Portugal, where I played in a castle to like thousands of people. Just the fact that I was playing in a castle felt really cool. But I mean, there's funny gig stories like being really drunk and throwing up backstage and then going to sing a set, or playing in front of David Bowie at my first concert ever, because I was in a synth pop band that was popular in New York. We played an award show and David Bowie was in the audience. It was for Out magazine. Playing with Scar the Martyr, the metal band I was in with Joey from Slipknot, was crazy. We'd play huge venues every night, touring with Danzig, and that was an insane experience for me. Playing Berghain, of course, the legendary techno club. Playing in Tokyo, which was a dream of mine just to go there even, and then I got to play there a few times and it's amazing for me. Playing in over 30 countries, amazing for me. Trying to think of stories because I got a lot.
Have you ever wondered what all this shit is for? Well, you can find, sorry, I can't keep it straight. Have you wondered what, dude, I'm cooked, hold on. I can't fucking. Have you ever wondered what all this gear is for? Well, you can find out in my master class on Sign. I do a complete breakdown of why my studio is the way it is and how everything works and how I make my tracks from beginning to end. You'll get a deep look inside my process and philosophy behind production. Check it out now on Sign.
There's one time I was playing in Paris in an elevated DJ booth, so I couldn't really see anyone dancing, but I guess someone didn't like it, so all I saw was a fist come up above the barricade and go like this. That was pretty good. That made me really laugh. There was another time where someone in full bondage came up to me, like leather head to toe, after I finished playing what I thought was a great set, and they were like, your music is too scary and hard, why do you play like this? And I was looking at their outfit thinking like, shouldn't they like me? The worst gig I ever had was one of my first gigs ever when I first started playing music. Basically, like, I had no following, so almost nobody came to the show. And my parents decided to come and see what I'm doing was about. And it was a situation where I was using a laptop with an audio interface, but the wall wart was on the wall of the venue and it would fall out every time the bass would get too loud, so all my audio would mute. And it happened like 8 times during the set, and I just was having a fucking meltdown, dying. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. No one is here except my parents. Like, they must think I'm a failure. And in that situation, I absolutely was, because not only was all that shit happening, but I could not handle it. Thankfully, there was no one there, so I continued on. But I can think of another worst gig, which is one that I played in LA, and it was a situation where I ended up playing 3 hours later than I should, so I was just sitting around drinking. And by the time I got started, I realized I was way too drunk and drunker than I thought I was, because I stood up and something happened that I triggered the wrong thing on my Octatrack and put in a trigger where it shouldn't be because I was fumbling with my hands. And so things were happening like and the beat was not playing correctly. And I just couldn't even read the screen of the Octatrack to figure it out. And I just had to stop after 10 minutes. So I stopped drinking before gigs after that. Favorite venues, I mean, Berghain was really cool, of course, because of the reputation, the sound, whatever. Arso in Berlin, which I played recently, has an insane sound system. I'll also throw in Tresor. I've played there so many times. It's always fun. It feels like, I don't know, like playing in my backyard or something, because it just feels like home in a way. Key in Georgia, always epic. I remember Contact Tokyo had the most insane sub bass I've ever heard in my life, like earth-shattering. I felt it in my bowels, you know? I thought I hit the brown note while I was playing. And also ESO 36 in Berlin has a pretty incredible sound system. There used to be a club in New York called Output that I played once. That was like the Berghain of New York for a while. It closed now, but its sound system was pretty insane. There was a night there we did for Sonic Groove. It was me, Adam X, Orphix, Realms, and Reese Fulber, and the whole night was just incredibly powerful sound, and I felt really good about my set. I don't know, again, that castle in Portugal was probably the top. Nothing beats playing in a castle. I used to get super nervous before gigs, and even now I still do. I used to drink before gigs just to calm down, which helped for a while, but then it kind of became a crutch, and I felt like I couldn't play without having a couple drinks just to take the edge off. But in general, I started focusing on my health and working out in the past couple of years, so I started playing sober pretty much, and that was it brought back the nerves, because then I didn't have that crutch of the drinking. And at the beginning it affected the performance, but after some time it was fine. And you know, I'm not saying that I'm like a completely sober person, so maybe I'll have a beer here and there, but on stage I find that it's just better that way, because you're able to do more things and focus more clearly. So I don't know. I mean, I've done so many by now, like hundreds of gigs, that it's just second nature. I handle creative frustration by channeling my creativity into other avenues. So let's say I'm doing a jam all day and it just sucks. Then I'll think, okay, what can I do that is related to music that is good for my time? It could be editing a previous jam. It could be just spending time designing sounds and new samples, or organizing sample folders, or just, I always try to turn it into something productive. That way I still feel accomplished, and I'm still working, because doing even those things can lead you down a new path of creativity. And you know, there's always changing the approach. Like Brian Eno's Oblique Strategies, turn it over or whatever, completely start from scratch. I'm not afraid to destroy something to make something new from it. And also, I think the main thing for my creativity is staying consistent. By always working, I'm working that muscle, and it's always sharp. If I take too much time away, if I'm traveling or touring and I don't do something for a few weeks to a month, when I come back I feel quite lost, like I'm not dialed in. So I like being in the studio consistently. Being a reviewer is a gift and a curse in some ways. A gift because I love gear, I love trying new gear. A curse because every week I have to learn something new, and it becomes overwhelming at times because in addition to learning something new, I also want to make music and do my own stuff. And generally when I'm doing that, I try to rely on pieces I know. So I have to find the right balance between, okay, now I'm going to take the time to learn X or Y piece of gear. Now I'm going to jam. Now I'm going to do the review. Now I'm going to jam. And when I get a backlog going, like currently I have 20 pieces of gear sitting in my house to review. It gets in the back of my head, like I need to do these, I need to do them now, and I can't concentrate on other things. At the same time though, it's been a super amazing opportunity for me, so when I say these, it's not a complaint. I'm really happy about it. If I had to make a small setup, my immediate choices would be Analog Rhythm, Octatrack, Push 3, Virus TI, Analog 4, Digitone, and a small modular case. We'll say a 2-row case. I would have one complex analog oscillator. I would have the Forge TME Vic X. I would have my Oxy 1 sequencer and the Oxy pipe to go with it, the Make Noise QPOS filter, and a few effects modules. Basically, actually, my current live case is probably the case I would take. In that I have the Forge TME, I have an analog complex oscillator, I have the Noisite Instruments Warp oscillator, I have a few effects from Qubit, I have the QPOS, I have the Endorphins Ghost, and the SSF Vortices mixer is very handy. And yeah, just that. But if you're just starting out, I absolutely recommend you get a piece of hardware. Behringer makes cheap pieces. The Neutron is amazing. I use it a lot. I recommend it to anyone just starting out. It's cheap and easy to get. You need to have a piece of gear. I even would say get a groove box, maybe over a modular synth, because you want something self-contained that you can touch with your hands, play on, learn. And if you can make cool, sick beats in groove boxes, then you can graduate to recording in the DAW. But I think, at least for my approach, I like performing, as you know, so I think learning that performative aspect is really cool. Like, to give you an example, I just found this guy on YouTube the other day, Isobutane, and he just was posting videos entirely done on his Yamaha RM1X, this groove box from the 90s, and they sound like fully complete, cool, weird techno and IDM tracks. So I think, especially with newer things, there's a lot you can do just by learning a good groove box for electronic music. And then, you know, of course, get a DAW, get Ableton or Bitwig or something. I use Ableton mostly. I also like Bitwig, but it's important to learn that and the fundamentals of recording. And I would say the most important thing is to just try and express yourself in a way that feels natural to you, that feels uniquely your own. I'm not a fan of people who just try to be someone else. I like uniqueness, so I think everyone should find their own voice and sound. Masterclass was one of the sweatiest gigs I've ever had. We were in my place and it was a hot summer day, so it was like 90 degrees Fahrenheit in there with the lights on me and my gear as a space heater. But it was smooth, we did it quick, and I had a lot of nerves going into it because I wasn't sure what I could say or if I would say things people wanted to hear or learn about, but it was much easier than I thought, and thankfully the team here was really good to work with, so good stuff. Fuck you guys. This was me, Joey Blush Response again. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And if you want to learn more from me, check out the masterclass that's available now on Sign.